Welcome to Card Central 365, powered by Gray Bar. This is STL Sports Central, the channel that brings you all the coverage of all the games for the Cardinals and all the local St. Louis sports teams. This is Roderick and Stefan Caray here. All content provided by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Not a great night for the Cardinals last night. Andre Pallante managed to get through 6 innings, but yet another game where it felt like the game was over before it even began. And we've been seeing a lot of that style of baseball of late for the Cardinals. Have not had a very good start to the month of July. Feels like a must-win here in Game 3 against the Nationals tonight.
Yeah, and same script that we've seen the last couple weeks here. A left-handed starter is just killing the Cardinals right now. They don't have that right-handed pop. They're missing. It is so abundantly clear how much they're missing Ivan Herrera right now in their lineup and just how important of a piece he is. And you hope he's able to come back after the All-Star break. You hope that he stays injury-free after the All-Star break. But I think just moving forward, you almost want, it makes you kind of sit and wonder too, like, where would this team be if he was healthy? Like, if he was 100% the whole year, what would those numbers look like? How good would he be? Because this is a team that's, scratching and clawing and hanging in there and still in the wild card picture with a guy that they are just desperately missing from that order right now. And when you go up against a lefty, it's just, you kind of look at it and you're like, all right, like, we're screwed tonight. So it's just not going to happen tonight.
Especially a talented lefty like Mackenzie Gore, who had his way with the Cardinals last night. It was a really tremendous performance from Gore, who is a representative of the Nationals for the All-Star game. 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, lowering his ERA to 3.02. And on your point about Ivan Herrera, he is scheduled to make a rehab appearance with Memphis. They did tweet that out today. So that is big news for St. Louis to maybe getting a very, very powerful bat back into the lineup. Right now, offensively, there aren't a lot of players who scare you if you're an opposing team. At least from a power perspective, this is a team that, will hit some doubles. They will be able to get them on, get them over, get them in. At least that has been sort of the mantra of this team in how they've been able to win games, but not of late. And against a team like the Nationals, who lost their manager, lost their GM, right before coming into town, they've played pretty good baseball against the Cardinals to start.
They have, yeah. And last night, it's been a showcase of the young talent that they have on that team. I think that was nobody expected the Nationals to be World Series contenders this year. That was not the goal going into the season. I don't know if playoffs were the goal going into the season. I think maybe a 500 season probably would have been deemed acceptable, would have been deemed a success this year. And that's not that just wasn't what was happening. And when you look at, when you look at going into the season that you had you had James Wood, who is performing. It is just, it's really fun watching him hit a baseball. Can't wait to continue to watch him hit a baseball after tonight. And he's out of St. Louis, but you have CJ Abrams, you have some other young stars on this team. You have Mackenzie Gore, who's finally pitching like they were hoping for when he was kind of the centerpiece. He and Abrams were the centerpiece of that Juan Soto trade a few years ago. And you're getting some of the guys playing to their potential, but you're not getting all of them playing to their potential. And I think that's when you just kind of looked at it and you're like, all right, we need to make a move here. Like we need to do something different because what's happening here just isn't working. And I think there's so much pressure on them this weekend with that number 1 overall pick, because we have seen the fast track that so many of these top picks are making to Major League Baseball now, that you do look like, I don't think, Ethan Holiday, probably not, an immediate answer to anything in the Nationals organization. But you look at what some of these guys that are going straight from college to the pros are right now. They need that to be a home run immediately. If they're going to go with somebody other than Ethan Holiday, they need to make sure, hey, this guy, if we need him in 26, like he needs to be right there in an important piece with everybody else.
Yeah, and the body of work there right down the road in Baltimore is his brother Jackson. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Nationals decide to keep both those brothers in that DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia area and keep that proximity because there's a storyline. But make no mistake, you look at a team like Washington and what they have in their farm system. You look at a team like the Marlins. The NL East could very easily be dominated by those two teams in the next couple of years. And I'm not saying that it's going to be a decades worth of Marlins victories and Nationals victories. No, I think the Mets and the Phillies will continue to up their payroll and stay competitive. But in terms of pure development and finding ways to develop and bring players up through the farm system and to trade for young pieces, both of those squads have done a really nice job. Now, they did run into a Cardinals team that is spiraling. Just by the numbers, let's take a look. Cardinals have lost 6 of their last 8 games. They've scored 17 runs during this 8-game span. That's 2.1 runs per game, with starters having an ERA combined 7.13. The only team in the league with a worse ERA since June 30th, well, that's the Nationals at a 7.38. So you're dealing with statistically 2 of the worst starting rotations over the last week or so, and they're clashing. First game, not super high scoring. Second game, the Nationals' bats came out to play. Then who knows what happens here in Game 3 with Miles Mikolas having a whole lot to prove against Michael Soroka, who has had his fair share of struggles on the mound.
You look at this matchup right here, and I would say jump on DraftKings and bet the over on on this one with both ERAs above a 5.2. It is the balls should be flying at Busch tonight.
Well, we certainly hope it's flying in favor of the Cardinals, who are in desperate need of some big swings. Now, it is worth mentioning that Atlanta plays a night game tonight in Sacramento at Sutter Health Park. They will have to get on a flight. They will probably be in St. Louis at 4 a.m. local time. And then we'll have to play a night game on Friday and then a day game on Saturday. So if you win today, if you're St. Louis, you put yourself in a good position to catch an exhausted and jet-lagged Atlanta Braves team coming into town this weekend.
And Spencer Strider starting tonight for the Braves, so you'll miss him this weekend. It hasn't been lights out stuff, but he still has some of the most talent of any pitcher in all of baseball. So you don't have to go up and face him this weekend. I don't think the Braves have set their rotation yet for the weekend.
I don't think they know who's going to pitch at this point. Schwellenbach hurt, Smith-Shawver hurt. You have not seen a lot of their starters that have been really fixtures in that rotation. Chris Sale has been hurt. So we will see who they throw out there. It might be some guys from AAA that get some opportunities, but only time will tell. Quick reminder that
ESPN tomorrow night says Grant Holmes is what ESPN is saying for Friday's game. So that's who they have listed for that. And then nobody listed for either side on Saturday and nobody yet on Sunday. So Grant Holmes is who ESPN.com has listed for tomorrow nights.
Well, Grant Holmes certainly has had his experience in the starting role with the Braves. He's also relieved a bit for Atlanta and has also struggled this year quite a bit. So quick reminder that this show is powered by Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Here on STL Sports Central, this is Card Central 365. Joe Roderick, Stefan Caray. Get involved in the conversation. Like, subscribe to the YouTube page. Give us all your questions, comments, concerns about the Cardinals. Now, today is a very important date with regard to the Cardinals rotation, July 10th. Talked about it over the last few days since Eric Fetty's previous start. What are the Cardinals going to do? Michael McGreevy eligible to be recalled back to the major leagues. As of today, we have yet to see any roster moves. But Eric Fetty, it was a bad start his last time out. Do you think there will be a move, or is it already too late for that to be announced?
There has to be a move. I think you have to do it in 2 ways too, because I think you need to probably bring some. And again, I don't know what you do at Fetty. Like, that's the thing. Like, is it a tired arm situation? Is it an IL for 15 days? Looking ahead to that, because you kind of want to have somebody in your bullpen tonight. You want to have extra arms in your bullpen tonight in case things go off the rails again with Mikolas. But if you look and you see that, okay, hey, McGreevy's starting on Saturday, I don't know where, because I know there's been so much up and down with that Memphis shuttle here. I'd have to look and see who's eligible to come back and see who's eligible to who's been down for 15 days and who can come back up. But I guess with an IL stint, it doesn't matter. But you have McGreevy, set and ready to go on Saturday. So do you bring another arm in today? And then that's the move that you send McGreevy down, or you to bring McGreevy up on Saturday. I think we'll find that out here in about 2 hours.
Yeah, I certainly think that there appears that there will be a move. They've talked a lot about it. If you're going to make a move and you really value the importance of finishing strong in the first half, you would assume that there will be one. Now, they might stick with Fedde one more time before the All-Star break and make it that final decision. Who knows what they're thinking in the front office. But the Cardinals, we said coming into this homestand, needed to win 4 out of 6. I'm not saying it's impossible if they don't win tonight, but tonight they really need to win, because then you get a Braves team that's caught off guard. And I'm not saying you're thinking sweep, but it is a Braves team that can be beaten a lot easier than they could have been beaten at the beginning of the year. And I would be over the moon if the Cardinals come out swinging and have a good performance here in game number 3 of this series against the Nationals tonight.
Yeah, and you have you have a Braves team coming in too that they've kind of lost. You think with the struggles that they keep having, and it just continued, because there was a point where you're like, all right, terrible start, they can dig out of it. And then I think we've seen in St. Louis the last 2 years, especially 2 years ago. Think back to 23, where the Cardinals were kind of in that situation where it's like, what the hell's going on here? Like, why do we keep losing at this rate? And okay, at some point it's going to flip. The switch is going to flip, and we're going to get out of it. It never happened. Like, you kept looking, okay, 5-game win streak right here, we're back in it. Nope, that didn't happen. And next thing you know, it was a 90-loss team. And I think that's where the Braves are right now, to where at a certain point you're just like, all right, that switch is not getting flipped. We're just a bad team this year.
I think that's a very fair point. And they're a team that doesn't have a whole lot of left-handed power. They have Matt Olson, but Ozzie Albies not hitting quite the same way that we are used to seeing him hit. Jurickson Profar, coming back after his suspension, is starting to heat up a bit, but they're more right-handed heavy. Ronald Acuna, of course, you have Austin Riley over at the hot corner. And they're really piecing it together as the season goes on. Now, I want to talk about Miles Mikolas, because this is going to be a long and important conversation. I'm not saying he's out of the doghouse or out of the woods with regard to the Cardinals fan perspective, but I think after Fedde's start, Miles gained a little bit of extra grace. This year, 4-6, 5.26 ERA, gave up 6 home runs in his last start, but has had great numbers against the Nationals in his career. 5-3, 3.26 ERA, including a win in 5 1/3 where he gave up just 1 run on May 11th earlier this year. Now, Mikolas, by the numbers, not great, especially recently. It has not been good for him. Has lost 4 of his last 5 starts, giving up 36 hits and 24 earned runs. That's an 8.31 ERA over that span. And he has given up plenty of home runs. I believe it's 14 of them. He's given up at least 1 home run in each of his last 3 starts, or 6 starts. Only Bailey Ober, who has given up 14, has allowed more home runs since the beginning of June than Miles Mikolas, who has given up 12.
Yeah, it's you. I will say I'm shocked that he's starting tonight. And I kind of came to terms with it when we saw Steven Matz get used in that game on Tuesday. That when he was brought in relief on Tuesday, I kind of looked at it, and they came out and on Monday, when they came out with rotation, they flipped Gray and Palante, and you put Mikolas's name in there. Like, at first I was shocked to see that. And I was like, okay, there's no way they're sticking with this. They're just putting his name on there right now just to put it on there. It's a spot in the rotation. And then when they brought Steven Matson on Tuesday, I was like, oh my God, like, they're actually going to go with Mikolas in this game, because I thought it would just have been so easy to skip 1 start. You're not DFAing him. You're not telling him, hey, you're in the bullpen. You're not doing it. Hey, you got hit hard. It was a bad day, record-setting bad day. Hey, we're going to give you some extra break. Come back. You'll start Saturday or Sunday after the All-Star break. I thought that just would have made so much sense and been so easy for the team to kind of figure out a way to make that work. So if you're Miles Mikolas tonight, how much pressure are you feeling? What is like right now? What is like? Are you go like because if you have another bad game today, say you give up 2 home runs in 3 innings tonight, that spotlight gets so much bigger then on the organization needing to make that move, right? And then not only that, you're also then you have that entire All-Star break to where the team can sit and have conversations about what they need to do moving forward. I just think a break in action, a nice 2 weeks off would have been the answer.
I think that the Cardinals' decisions on their starting pitching will coincide with their decisions at the trade deadline. Now, I'd like to get into this topic a little bit more, but first, a quick reminder that baseball season is officially underway, and it's time to step up to the plate with DraftKings Pick 6. Think of DraftKings Pick 6 as your fastball right down the middle. It's the easiest way to play for cash and take a shot at a big win. Just select 2 or more players and choose if they'll have more or less of a stat. Pick 6 is available in most states, including California, Texas, Georgia, Missouri, and more. Cash in your baseball knowledge. New players get $50 in Pick 6 credits instantly on just a $5 entry. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app and use code STL Sports. That's code STL Sports for new customers to play $5. Get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins. Only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Welcome back to Card Central 365. We were discussing the topic of Miles Mikolas. And one of the things that I'm surprised we haven't seen, maybe not so surprised, but the way that this rotation is constructed, outside of Sonny Gray and outside of Matthew Liberatore, you don't really have starters that get you through 7 innings, which leaves your bullpen not shorthanded, but there's an expectation that they've got to eat up 3 or 4 innings a night, which doesn't afford you the opportunity of having bullpen games. Now, would that be an effective strategy on certain days? Probably. But it's just a luxury that I don't think Ollie Marmol has been afforded this season with the way that the starters have pitched. We just said the numbers over the last week with that ERA. I would love to see some sprinkled in the second half. I would love to see the bullpen sprinkle in some bullpen games, because when the Cardinals have faced bullpen games, they haven't exactly feasted. They're very difficult to approach. You try to construct a lineup for one side of the rubber, a right-handed pitcher or a left-handed pitcher, then they've got to go in to the bullpen, and it totally flips the lineup construction over. So I don't know how they're going to approach it in the second half, but I'd like to see some of those relievers maybe get some extended outings, especially if the starters are struggling.
Yeah, I guess I don't have the confidence in many guys in that bullpen to be that opener. So I just that's where I kind of stand with it right now. I guess if you told me right now, like, okay, Kyle Leahy's going to get the start and we're going to get him through the first inning, like the way Kyle Leahy's been going lately, I don't trust that. I don't want to see that. I don't know who else you would kind of go to in that situation. Maybe if you call up something like a Granello, I kind of would want to see that. I'd take a look and see what that would look like. 1, 2, maybe 2 innings out of that. Swanson is pitching deeply for a name that I don't think any of us knew in spring training. He's come in and he's held his own in the bullpen for majority of the season. Jojo Romero back in it. But again, you're not putting Jojo Romero out there in the 4th inning of a game. Like it is, if you're doing a bullpen game, like you're still saving those bullets for the end. And right now, the middle relievers aren't guys that I have a whole lot of confidence in to get me through a potential bullpen game if that's the direction they want to go.
Well, and I think that the guys that I would look at are Kyle Leahy and Steven Matz, guys that have starting pitching experience. Matz at the major league level, but Leahy came up through the system as a starter beginning in Springfield. He had some decent numbers, right? I would trust him to be able to get through the order the first time, second time. He's come into a lot of games where the offense has been totally locked in and a lot of high leverage moments. And at the beginning of the year, he was nails, but he does have a starting pitcher's arsenal. And I don't know what the game plan is. I wouldn't profess to say I know any better than John Mozeliak, Heimblum, and Ollie Marmol. But it would be interesting to see a different approach than what they've been going with, because the last 2 weeks, it feels like you only have 2 real shots out of 5 to win from a pitching standpoint.
And maybe tonight. The book on Miles Mikolas going into this season was, you do not under any circumstances let him get through that lineup, face that lineup a third time. Maybe tonight you look at kind of a bullpen game. Maybe tonight is a bullpen game for Miles Mikolas, and he's just your opener for it, to where if he can get you 9 outs, are you happy with 9 outs tonight after what we saw on Friday? Is that good enough? Knowing that you're kind of going into the weekend and knowing some of the moves that you might have on the horizon, I think that's a big thing. Like, we knew that they were sitting down and having conversations on Monday. We knew that was the plan on Monday. Are those conversations over with? Like, is the plan set to where they know before tonight, before Saturday, like what they are going to do, or what their plan is health-wise, what they plan on doing with everybody for these final 4 games before the break? I think that's a question we don't have the answer to that right now. No. And that's something I think that the organization might be holding a little close to the vest going into it. And it's something that, we're not going to know until it's announced.
You never want to show your cards too early if you are the Cardinals, and this is Cards Central 365. So that was perfect timing. Now on the other side, Michael Soroka has had his struggles for the Nationals, allowed 7 runs on 9 hits over 4 innings, losing 11-2 to the Red Sox on Friday. He had a stretch of really good starts prior to that, but this is the type of guy that you can get after. Remembered him for his amazing time with the Braves. Of course, some injuries plagued him, and he's trying to revitalize his career in DC. He's 1-1 with a 3.38 ERA, 14 strikeouts in 3 games against the Cardinals in his career. So St. Louis, I'm imagining, will be swinging early and often, trying to get him out of the game, get into that Nationals bullpen that has also struggled mightily this season. And if you can walk away with a win in Game 3, I don't really care how ugly it is. Get the win.
Do you remember when he was with the Braves? I mean, he looked like he was 14 out there when he pitched for the Braves. You look at his picture now, and at some point over the past few years, he's learned how to grow a beard and does not look like a child anymore out there. But this is a kid that a lot of high hopes on him back in the day. I mean, he was an all-star when he was out there and looked like the bat boy out there at the all-star game. I believe, I want to say it was in L.A. where he was the all-star for the representative, or one of them, for the Braves. But yeah, this is a guy that had so much upside for his career, and injuries really did take a toll on him. And, now with the Nationals trying to kind of revitalize that.
I'll always have a soft spot for Mike Soroka and what he meant to the Braves. And, when my dad left Atlanta to come to St. Louis, but Mike was very frustrated in a joking way. He was like, "Oh no, say it ain't so," and texted my dad congratulations, and was always so kind to him and easy to work with. So again, another one of those starts where you hope he goes and has a decent day because of the human being, and then you hope the bullpen implodes for the Nationals and the Cardinals walk away with a victory. But not a whole lot more that we can cover for game number 3. Joe, you have any final thoughts here on Cards Central 365?
No, like I said, I mean, let's next time I want to see a James Wood home run is Monday night. That's the next time I want to see him hitting baseballs out of a ballpark is Monday. Let's keep those balls in the yard tonight. And like I said, I'm trying to sit here and think it's something, maybe throw it out there on like a Twitter poll or something. Like, how many outs does Miles Mikolas need to get tonight for you to think it's successful, for it to be a successful game? Like, what is the innings/runs allowed that would make you happy with what you're watching tonight?
Well, you got to get the ball on the ground against a team that has been hitting it in the air with a pitcher that has been giving up a lot of fly ball contact. So I imagine the A defense will be in the outfield patrolling the gaps in game number 3. Well, that's all we have for you here on Card Central 365 here on STL Sports Central. This show powered by Gray Bar. All content provided by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Thank you so much for joining us, Joe. Thank you guys for tuning in, and hopefully the Cardinals can win a series, snapping back-to-back series losses tonight in Game 3.